like Jay Shadler uncovers a growing network of therapists who think the devil and his followers are behind their patients' problems.
I hate to be so blunt about it, but some of these therapists may be as sick as their patients.
The question is, who is hoaxing who?
Primetime. From Los Angeles, Diane Sawyer.
Good evening and welcome. We started looking into our first story after we heard about a bizarre trend in psychotherapy across this country. As you know, today more and more people are confronting ugly memories of childhood sexual abuse. But did you realize there is a growing network of psychiatrists and psychologists who believe their patients, particularly the female patients, were abused in satanic rituals? Jay Shadler investigated their world of covens and sacrifices.
Let your mind go deeper and deeper and deeper.
In cadence, slow and reassuring, a therapist leads his patient into her past.
Deeper and deeper and deeper.
During 2 days of therapy, Vanessa, the name she's asked us to use, will drift through dozens of emotions and personalities.
No, God.
Rosa, what is your job?
I'm the seductress.
Susie, how old are you?
3.
Your name?
Rudolph.
Vanessa originally sought psychiatric help for depression and eating disorders, but as her therapy continued, she began to remember episodes of sexual abuse at the hands of her father. Those memories then turned into vivid recollections of satanic rituals.
It was premeditated and systematic, methodical, fragmenting of our personalities and then using other children and sacrifices to terrorize us.
Children were murdered?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
One time there was a baby there, and they stabbed the baby and killed it, and we all had to drink blood.
Though Vanessa's father denies every accusation, and there are no police records to substantiate her claims, her memories seem brutally real. In words and pictures, she has recalled a childhood poisoned with physical, sexual, and psychological abuse.
How did you know it was true? How did you know the memory was true?
I became the little girl who observed that. That's who I became during that memory, and I was terrified. And I'm not making that up.
Vanessa's story would be chilling even if it was the rare memory of a single person. But it's not. Thousands of patients are now claiming that they have been victims of sexual abuse and torture carried out by satanic cults. Satanic ritual abuse has become the fastest growing and most controversial psychological phenomenon in the country. It's a modern twist to an ancient story. Reports of devil worship, black masses, sacrificial altars, and secret covens, bands of witches 13 in number, date back to the Middle Ages. The legends have survived to modern times, but today it's not high priests who are called on to explain the evils of the mind. It's professional therapists.
How many of you work with ritual abuse victims?
Inside this room are more than 200 licensed psychotherapists listening to a closed briefing session on ritual abuse. Though Primetime was barred from this seminar, our hidden cameras recorded Dr. Corey Hammond using a videotape to teach therapists how to use hypnosis to retrieve memories of ritual abuse.
Drifting further and deeper into comfort.
I will typically say to them, you know, I know a secret about you.
If the satanic ritual abuse phenomenon has a guru, Dr. Hammond is it. He's a staff psychologist at the University of Utah Hospital in Salt Lake City. He believes many patients in his private practice come from families who belong to organized satanic cults. This woman, who asked not to be identified, has worked with him for more than a year to retrieve memories of an abusive mother.
Now that you've gotten back some of these memories, tell her what you'd really like to say to her.
I hate you. I hate you. How could you do those things to me?
They basically start with severe torture of a very young child, usually in the range of 2 to 3 years old. The strategy is to make them highly dissociative and divide the mind so that they purposefully create multiple personalities.
By abusing the child splits into several personalities.
Yes.
How widespread are we talking?
At least tens of thousands of victims, probably hundreds of thousands. Remember the memory. Remember the memory of what they did with it.
You know what's coming up. Coming up is Christmas. Gotta get ready for Satan. No, I don't want.
They will create a part who may be there to do sacrifices, to kill other people, to do child sacrifices.
When you use the word they, who are you talking about?
Well, I wish we knew who they were.
We're going back to the concept that we're not responsible for our own thoughts and feelings and behaviors, but we are possessed.
After nearly 20 years in private psychiatric practice, Dr. George Ganoway says he has yet to see a single patient whose report of ritual abuse is true. What's happening, he says, is ritual abuse therapy is turning into a cottage industry for his profession. Insurance claims for psychiatric treatment linked to the diagnosis have jumped as much as 50% in just the last year.
I'm doing a number of reviews for insurance companies on patients who have been institutionalized for months, for years, in and out, where they're dealing with these satanic ritual abuse experiences.
So it's big business for the therapeutic community.
Well, it's big business, but I think some therapists feel like that they're on some type of a crusade.
How many therapists have you told about all this? How many therapists have you been training?
I suppose there have been over 1,000 therapists that I've said something to in conferences.
They'll begin sexually abusing them right off the bat. They'll begin to do things like have them drink blood.
Have you ever seen a sacrifice?
No.
No bones scattered around an altar?
No, I haven't been present at any of the ceremonies.
And yet if you go out to these seminars and you speak as if these things have actually happened.
We as therapists shouldn't be responsible for providing evidence.
While there have been a few isolated examples of ritualistic murders and occult-related crimes, the fact is no hard evidence of large-scale satanic cults has ever existed. A 7-year study by the FBI was unable to identify even one documented satanic murder, and little or no evidence of organized satanic conspiracies. If this is as real and as widespread as you believe it to be, where's the proof? Where are the bones? Where are the graves?
Basically, we're not going to find many, I don't believe, because the things that therapists hear all over this country are that morticians are involved in many cases, physicians who can sign phony death certificates.
Despite such bizarre explanations and lack of evidence, ritual abuse workshops are flourishing. In these sessions, therapists can sometimes produce memories even in the most reluctant patients.
I don't have that many memories. I'm new at this diagnosis.
And actual accounts of child abuse are often ignored amid the more dramatic and shocking stories of satanic rituals.
They even gave us the knife and made us stick it in a person.
Even more troubling, many patients who claim to be victims of satanic ritual abuse have suffered some serious childhood trauma, making them especially vulnerable now to hypnosis and fantasy.
These folks are like sponges, and in an altered state of consciousness, they can absorb information from books and from movies, from magazines.
Or from a therapist's mouth.
Sometimes from a therapist's mouth. Has anyone inside been to a cult meeting in the last month?
Remember Vanessa? Critics say it is in this kind of therapy where the idea of Satanism is planted. Listen.
I counted 12 people who answered the door. There may be more, maybe 13. 13 will make a coven.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, there wasn't another name coming.
What was that? Regina.
Uh-huh.
And that would make 13? By my count. That's a coven, right?
Uh-huh. You know, there's this other voice in there that just keeps saying they wish I'd shut up and stop making all this stuff up.
If Vanessa has doubts, her therapist, Randy Noblitt, still presses ahead, using an assortment of mysterious code words.
Priority level.
He's looking for a response.
Priority level.
For example, what kind of reaction are you?
If their eyes roll up and their eyes flutter, and then an altered personality comes out behaving like a robot.
Then you know you're on the trail to ritual abuse.
Well, I don't know of any other way to account for it.
Hello, Satan. Hello, Satan.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good.
You called up a lot of personalities.
Yeah.
On Vanessa.
Yeah.
You called up Satan.
Right.
He pretty easy to talk to?
Vanessa Satan seemed like a pretty friendly guy to me.
Hate to be so blunt about it, but some of these therapists may be as sick as their patients.
Well, the question is, who is hoaxing who?
That question is now at the heart of a bitter feud brewing among patients, their families, and the therapeutic community. Because increasingly, people who, while undergoing therapy, recounted bizarre stories of ritual abuse, now say it was never true.
I thought I saw my father doing things to me. I really believed it. I thought. And I wrote the things down. But it wasn't true. It didn't happen.
These four women are all former patients of Dallas psychotherapist Michael Moore. Moore, who is being sued for negligence and fraud, would not talk to Primetime, but continues to practice as a specialist in the treatment of eating disorders.
He made you believe that all these pictures going on in your head was reality, was real stuff. Here I am, I'm sick. He's the specialist. He's the one supposed to be saving lives, you know, and I'm going to argue with him.
So the therapist was giving you a reason, an explanation for your problem?
Yes.
And it seemed reasonable to you?
I was desperate. I was desperate.
Desperation eventually engulfed another of Michael Moore's patients. For years, Gloria Grady had struggled with a weight problem, but under therapy, she came to believe her troubles were far darker.
Oh, I heard about Gloria long before I met her. From Mike. Her father was a Baptist minister who was a satanic high priest and abused his daughter.
I can feel his mighty power.
Lee Grady is not a satanic priest. He's a small-town Texas preacher. His wife, Jean, is not a child abuser. She's a Bible teacher. But 5 years ago, their daughter sent them a letter accusing them of sexually abusing her in satanic rituals.
She said that we pretended pretended to be the perfect family, and that she was removing herself from our family unit.
Had you ever abused her?
No.
Stunned at the accusation, the Gradys tried to speak with their daughter, but instead she took them to court, claiming her parents were Satanists.
I mean, the things she described. She gave birth to several children, and in some of whom were aborted, and the fetus is then eaten ceremonially.
You're sitting in the courtroom listening
Yes.
to these accusations.
Yes.
This is your daughter.
Yes.
What went through your mind?
Disbelief. Disgust.
Though the Gradys were found innocent, they have not seen their daughter for more than 2 years now. But they believe her whereabouts are known by Michael Moore, who they are suing for slander.
Our nation is going through a love affair with psychotherapy. And please forgive the phraseology here, but I feel it. They have emotionally and mentally raped our daughter.
Though Primetime was unable to talk to Gloria Grady, we did try to have a few words with Michael Moore.
Mr. Moore? Hi, I'm Jay Shadler with Primetime Live. Could I just talk to you for a moment about some accusations that your patients have made? Just for a few moments?
Oh, sure.
Can we just talk just for a few moments? These are pretty serious allegations. Could you tell us a little bit about Gloria Grady? Do you know where she is?
I've had other mothers come and say, I don't see how this could happen. My daughter and I are very close. Gloria Jean and I were very close. I don't understand how it could happen either. And I miss her. I miss my daughter.
At night, our front bedroom window up there, when it starts getting dark, we turn that light on, and that light is left on up there for her.
One note, this morning, our affiliate in Dallas, WFAA, talked to Gloria Grady. She said she stands by her story and her accusations against her parents and still has not talked to them.